Finding success, growth, and understanding. In previous lessons, we have learned that conditions are always unique and that these conditions change according to natural laws. The better we understand these natural laws, the better we can understand why things happen, solve problems, and improve our lives. In this lesson, we'll focus on how we can learn these natural laws and the impact it has on who we are and how we act. We'll begin by going over the cycle of learning. This is the process we each go through to learn these natural laws and to grow. We first perceive and identify a problem, we process and understand why it's happening, we apply what we learned, and we change. Now some people go through this process very quickly and others very slowly. Each of us learn at a different rate. An example of this could be that we perceive the problem of tooth pain and decay. We then would process and understand it's happening because we don't clean our teeth. Because of that, we start brushing, flossing, and using mouthwash. And finally, we will change and have healthy, pain-free teeth. Another example could be that we perceive the problem that we are stressed and overworked. We would process and understand it is because we are thinking and relying too much on our mind. We start asking for help, which minimizes our thinking and decision making, and then we would change into a happier, more relaxed person. Now please realize that two of the key steps in learning is being willing to act differently and change what we are used to doing. The more resistant you are to doing things differently and admitting you are wrong, the less you'll be able to change and grow. Now, if we were to look at a scale to measure a person's understanding of all the natural laws and conditions from 0 to 100, we would find that everyone knows a different amount of information. To simplify things, we are going to analyze two extreme types of people. Type C people, who understand very little of these natural laws and conditions, and Type A people, who understand almost everything. We'll use these two types of people to examine the different characteristics and actions that come when we know a lot, like a Type A, and when we know very little, like a Type C. Let's start by looking at concepts we have already gone over. To do this, we'll take a single pair of opposite characteristics or actions at a time. For example, who is more likely to believe everything happens for a reason, and who is more likely to believe the opposite, which is randomness and chance? The Type A will believe everything happens for a reason because he knows the natural laws and why it happens. The Type C will believe in randomness and chance because they don't know why things happen. Who is more likely to be unable to predict the future? Because the Type A understands the conditions like the type of seed and natural laws like gravity, he is able to predict things will fall and what type of tree the seed will become. The Type C doesn't know natural laws or conditions, so he is unable to predict the future. Who is more likely to solve problems to minimize pain? The Type A understands why something is happening and can change to solve the problem. The Type C doesn't know what is causing the pain, so he does not have the ability to solve it. Who is more likely to use the thinking lifestyle? The Type C is more likely to use the thinking lifestyle, and the Type A is more likely to use the no-thinking lifestyle, because the Type A understands their mind is not reliable, and life is easier to use alternatives to thinking, like technology and asking for help. Now there are Type A characteristics and Type C characteristics. No one is all Type A or all Type C, but somewhere in between. For instance, if someone was exactly in the middle, it would mean 50% of the time they would believe everything happens for a reason and have the other Type A characteristics. But on the other hand, 50% of the time they would believe in randomness and chance and all the other Type C characteristics. The more we understand, the more we will act and think like a Type A person and less like a Type C person. The less we understand, the less we will act and think like a Type A person and more like a Type C person. Now you can use this for any characteristic or action to see if it will lead to success like a Type A or results like a Type C. Let's continue with more examples. Remember, You have to take a pair of opposite characteristics or actions. For example, who is more likely to ask for help? Who is more likely to blame other people? Who is more likely to try to control other people? Who is more likely to be unwilling to change? Now, another thing to notice is that all type A and type C characteristics are related, meaning it's hard to have one without having the others. For instance, if you're willing to change and believe you can control your own life, most likely you will have all the other type A characteristics. If you're always blaming others and always trying to solve problems by yourself, you most likely will have the other type C characteristics. In other words, if you want to solve problems to minimize pain, but you are acting like a type C person, then it will be difficult for you to solve problems to minimize pain. Because if you're acting like a type C person, it is more likely that you'll get type C results, repeating the same problems and keeping the pain. Actions and results are related to each other. If you want more type A results, then you must begin acting more like a type A person. One of the keys to finding success is to realize what characteristics and actions help us and which characteristics and actions hinder us from getting what we want. As a personal activity, read through the following pairs of characteristics and actions and identify which are more likely type A and which are more likely type C.